one of the things I just want to remind you, if you haven't seen this before, if you go to my LinkedIn profile, and I'll show you a little later too, but if you go to my LinkedIn profile, you can look in my featured section and you will see an article that I have there that lists out the last 330 trainings we have done. We do trainings every single day. And so go back as you're maybe running into a particular issue, or maybe you get ready to do a certain task and you just need a little refresher, whatever it is, in case you haven't watched all the training or even looked at it, go in there and look at it. You will find all sorts of training. And the cool thing is when you look at previous trainings, the replay on LinkedIn, you will also find tons of people you can connect with. We're going to talk a little bit about that today in today's training. So that's a good way to just get engaged out there. That was just a quick little tip for those of you showing up early and on time. Again, thanks so much for doing that. Thanks so much for engaging in the chat. I love seeing the community, right? It's nothing fancy in there. It's hellos. We're all saying hello to each other. We are all just business people at one level or another. And being able to have somebody else out there engage with us at the very least is supportive. And then maybe going offline and building relationships offline is fantastic. So let's dive into today's training. Okay, let's get started with how government contractors can network on LinkedIn. Today's training is going to be basically along the lines of visibility. So I thought I'd back up for a second. You'll see in a second, I teach the 7-step process for federal revenue success. The first step, or not the first step, but a baseline foundation step is visibility. We need to be visible to teammates and to buyers. And what we describe visibility as is being findable and attractive. LinkedIn, though, is part of that whole visibility. We describe visibility as needing 6 marketing assets out there. If you're not familiar with them, I have a lot of training on it. But the six marketing assets that every small business should have are your DSBS profile, your capability statement, your LinkedIn personal profile and company page, your capability briefing deck, and your website, right? So those are your 6 marketing assets. When you have those in place, you're visible. You can be findable and attractive to buyers. LinkedIn, though, is one very unique marketing asset because people buy from those they know, like, and trust. LinkedIn is the only marketing asset that helps people know, like, and trust you. If you think about DSBS or your capability statement or your website, at best they talk about, they help people know who you are. Rarely can anybody like you from those assets. They're very static, right? But LinkedIn, as you'll see in a second, is where we can engage. We're engaging right now. And so that's something that's really important for you to be tracking on. Today's training, I'm going to dive down into LinkedIn from a high level. I have previous LinkedIn training you can look at, especially for bullet 2 and 3, but we're going to cover 3 things pretty fast so that you have this awareness going forward. First is your LinkedIn profile. I want to talk about your LinkedIn profile. The second thing I want to talk about is your engagement. How do you engage on LinkedIn with buyers and teammates? And then the last thing is LinkedIn content posting. So let's just drive down. If you don't know who I am, my name is Neil McDonald, and I'm the president of the GovCon Chamber of Commerce. I have spent 20 years in the federal market, first as a small business owner, and then since 2018, I've been teaching people like you that government contracting is not a secret, it's just a process. When you follow a process A to Z, you're going to have repeatable, predictable results, and that's what I want for you. Right here, you can see my 7-step process, and the 7-step process is A to Z success factor for you. And I apologize. I just really quickly, I don't want to keep talking if I feel like you're not able to see me. So I'm just going back into my profile. Just there you go. So LinkedIn was screwing up on me. Now it's good to go. I'm happy. I can get my mind back on the training. If you haven't done it, put your core competency and your company name into the chat and engage with everybody else in the chat. Let's get driving into, I'm going to have 3 slides that basically talk about the 3 points I want to talk about. And then I'm going to go into LinkedIn. I'm going to go back and forth in there. So let me start with the slide here, and then I'll go show you what I mean. Your LinkedIn personal profile, it needs to be updated so that it too is findable and attractive, right? And I don't mean our personal picture. I just mean our profile is attractive for the type of buyers we're trying to attract or teammates we're trying to attract. We want them to see us as cybersecurity experts or painting experts, et cetera. And so your personal profile, I just described it as your virtual or your social media business card, right? It's your calling card. When I go to conferences, I don't take business cards, physical cards. If I see somebody, I say, hey, you're on LinkedIn, let's connect right now. And instantly I know so much more than their phone number and their email, right? And I want to know a lot. I want them to know about me. If I can get them to connect with me on LinkedIn, Now they're able to go down this rabbit hole of learning about me, about my company, seeing the content I post. If I give them a business card, all they have is my phone number, right? And the email. So this goes into the why, right? Why are personal profiles so important on LinkedIn? It's because they make that first impression and second impression. I have people I've been connected to for years, decades, and well, not decades, but decade. And they'll come back. Maybe they haven't seen what I've been up to. Well, when they come back in, maybe they know they like me, right? They appreciate who I am, but they can see what I've been up to over the last 2 years, 5 years. And your company is the same. You are the same. You want to make sure you're communicating that out to people. The time to make changes is today. If you haven't done it, let's do a refresh, right? And that today might be like the next week. But then anytime you have a major change, you want to update it. If you've got a new white paper your company put together, come back into LinkedIn and add it to your personal profile. Who is you? Where is your LinkedIn account? I'm going to show you. And this is what I want to show you today. I don't want to show you everything on LinkedIn, but I just want to show you some of the most important personal profile updates that all of us should be doing. Our name, our photo, and our headline are the first things, and I'll show you in a minute how to do those. But the reason they're so important is because your name, photo, and headline are the only parts of your profile that go somewhere else. When you give a thumbs up, your name profile, your name, photo, and headline are out on somebody else's post, and everybody can see it. And then they click on it and they come back to your profile and they see your banner. This is the poster that says, "Hey, this is what we do." And then the main things about your personal profile that you need to update is your about section and your experience. Yes, there's a lot of other stuff, but for today, for the basics, we're going to stick with that. So let me show you what I mean. And I'm going to go in here. Actually, I'm just going to go down for a second and pull up Gus as an example. So Gus is a partner of mine. He's on my team. So the first thing I'm saying is the name, right? So his name, actually, Gus is a shortened of a longer name. First recommendation for you is make sure you use Jim, not James, as an example. If you go by Jim or if you go by Mike instead of Michael, then use that shortened name. This is not a legal document. This is a networking community. Make sure it's easy for us to just know your preferred name. And whatever you do, don't tell us, oh, anything's fine. We hate that. Tell us one name you like to be called. What's your favorite name? The second thing is don't add anything to your name. And I know some of you are in the community right now, you probably have stuff on there. I'm just saying that it distracts from everything else. Any prefix and any suffix to your name doesn't belong there. The name is just your name. And when LinkedIn is pushing it out in different places, if you do stuff like add emojis or add other stuff, it doesn't work as well where you're somewhere else. The next thing is you can see right here that there's, let me just zoom in. So in case you don't see it, you can see the headline, right? The next thing is the headline where he's saying, we help government contractors win federal contracts by attracting federal buyers, implementing a marketing campaign, and establishing strategic relationships. The difference here is that he's communicating who do we help, how do we help them, and what's the transformation. That's a whole lesson on itself on how to write a good headline, but you want to have a headline instead of something like just where it says owner, right? Owner doesn't tell anybody anything. It doesn't make you attractive. What makes you attractive is you say, we paint great houses, or we're, a cybersecurity firm that does blah, blah, blah. And I'll show you an example what I mean. It doesn't mean if you just say your job title in here that it's bad. I'm just saying you're missing out on all this opportunity to communicate how great you are. And sorry, I didn't mean to knock his face, but then there's his face. Let me come back really quick and show you what I mean. And then I'll come back to his profile because we'll just use him as the poster child on today. So if I come down here, a lot of people engaging, thank you. But I did a post this morning. Hey, James, I did this post this morning, and this is a perfect example for me to show you because there's government people who do this as well. And so I posted this 4 hours ago and a lot of engagement. And when you get engagement, you're just not, if you engage on my post, it's not just me who's seeing it, it's everybody else. And so what I wanted to do is just show you right here, right? There's 34 people and you see their headlines. Here's my headline, right? Government contracting is not a secret. It's just a process. I'm trying to attract people by saying I'm a process-driven coach. I teach you the process. As you come down here, even this person, very short, but it's like passionate about your well-being at work. No kidding. Okay, what is that? Let's explore that or something. But as you come down, I don't want to insult anybody in here, but I'm just saying when you come down, there's certain things you do with your stuff that makes it attractive and certain stuff that doesn't bring people in, and you're missing out on something that's there. Here's somebody did it differently. They did it with hashtags saying, hey, we talk about this kind of stuff. But I'm looking for one that might pop out as, see, there's a lot of these that are just the job titles. And this is what I want you to change. I just want, here, look at this. Oh, hey, John. John's in our community as well. Great community. Two of these people really quick. So John provides staffing, headhunting, and executive search, right? Bam, instantly, it's not his job. He's not the CEO of KGES or whatever. He's saying how he can help us. Jennifer does the same thing, right? Guiding small businesses with government bids. Right here, Nina Martin, delivering deaf communication access that empowers communication for all. That's a powerful headline, right? That's what we're looking for. The next thing I want to show you, I said, is the banner. And this is the banner, right? You really want to look at your banner and go, is it communicating everything? We're communicating in our organization that we do coaching for government contractors. We're not a government organization. We don't get funded by the government, in case anybody wonders that. We do this ourselves. And so we're trying to communicate that we're a coaching firm for government contractors. Very simple. Other people have different, I don't want to pull up other people's banners, but you can go look at your own. Does it communicate a message? Because here's the thing. If Gus was over here, let's just walk through this. Here he is. I'm looking at him. I see somebody, I go, oh, here, Gus, we help government contractors. Well, I'm a government contractor. Let me go see what he does. When I land, do I see a blank banner, or do I see something that communicates anything? GovCon success. Well, shoot, that's what I want. All it's doing, the banner, is encouraging me to read down, and that's what I want you to do. Let's go to the next two things I was talking about. The next two are the about section. So right here is about, let me see if I can go back to somebody else here who might, who was I just looking at? I think I was just thinking, come on, sorry. I should have had this up a minute ago. Nina. So Nina had a pretty good one. Let's see what her banner looks like. So she's got, hers is focused on hiring at the moment, but as you come down, you can see she's put her capability statement on here at the top in the featured section. Sometimes I get this, by the way, see the about, I can't expand it. That's a problem with LinkedIn. It just happens when it happens. You can't do anything about it. Oh, there you go. I can expand it now. So now look at her about section. This is what I want you to do. It doesn't have to be exactly like this, but take advantage of this about section to do two things. One is make your company findable. So here she's talking about what her company does, organizations she's worked for, they do ASL. So one is findable if somebody's searching on LinkedIn or even Google, because Google indexes this. If they're searching, they might find her as deaf communication access, right? But then the other is if anybody lands on Nina's profile, they can scroll down and learn about her. And if they're federal side, they're able to find the cage code UEI and go off on a rabbit hole with DSBS or FPDS or whatever to begin to explore. And so she's just taken advantage of this about section to put that in. And then she replicates it down in the experience section. Let me go ahead and close these guys for 1 second and bring us back to our slides. And so that's what I want you to think about updating, right? Get your personal profile updated so that people begin to know you and like you. When they show up, they understand what your company does. The next thing I want you to pay attention to as it relates to how to network on LinkedIn is engagement. And this is when you start getting active in your networking, right? Using LinkedIn is what we call social selling. But let me just talk briefly about what it is, and then I'll show you how to do it. So again, I started with networking with buyers and teammates. When you do LinkedIn engagement, it basically is if you were at a conference walking around saying, hi, I'm Neil, right? You might engage with people in the aisle. You might engage with people in booths. You might be sitting at a training session and you turn to the left or the right. But it's networking with buyers and teammates. And the way you do that, and I'll show you, is primarily giving a thumbs up, a liking, commenting, reposting, or sharing. And I'll talk about those. By the way, never share. That's old school, and I'll show you about it. But the minute you share, you break a thread. And then why? So here, to help them know, like, and trust you, this is what I talked about where I said LinkedIn is the only asset that can help, marketing asset that can help people know, like, and trust you. Because as you start engaging, as you start sharing more content, et cetera, you have this ability to do it. And it all begins with engagement. If you give a thumbs up, they begin to know you. If you support their comments, comment in and support somebody else's post, they begin to like you. Hey, thanks for engaging my content. And then when you start posting stuff that's really relevant and ties it back to what they're trying to say, and you're driving the conversation further on their post, they start trusting you as well. This person really knows what they're talking about. And another reason why you want to do the engagement is because it warms up leads or helps you continue to build the relationships you already have. I'm doing a training Friday. I don't know if that's tomorrow, but I'm doing a training on Friday, and it's about cold calling. And one of the things I say is the easiest way to go after cold calls is warm them up first, but especially for your hot leads. Never cold call a hot lead. Now that we have LinkedIn, you can just come in and engage them outside on social media and then have a meeting, then cold call, then your cold call is warm. But that's another advantage of LinkedIn engagement, is because you can warm up those cold leads. I want you to do this 15 minutes a day. I do a whole training about how do you do engagement on LinkedIn for 15 minutes a day. You can find it in the replays. The replays are all available for free. Don't delegate this activity. I don't care if you own your company or what level you're at. Spend 15 minutes. There's a massive difference between you and somebody who does it for you when you engage with folks. No one can replicate what I say. I experience this sometimes where I'm engaging with people, I think it's them, and then I get this feeling that it's somebody else. And it's like, well, then I no longer want to even engage or comment with you because it's not really you. It's somebody else doing it. So it has to be you who does the engagements. This is the one thing I would highly recommend you don't delegate. You do it in your feed. I'll show you how to do this, but you do it in your feed. You can find stuff in notifications or search. I'll show you those 3 different ways. So let's go ahead and go back there so I can show you. And I know I'm moving pretty fast. Don't worry, you can watch the replay. And then second, there's a lot of other training I did on LinkedIn. But let's come into engagement. The first thing I said is I could go into my feed. So your feed is on your homepage, right? If I come to the homepage and I start scooting down, what I'm looking for is some posts that might matter to me. So these are a lot of these posts that I see out there are people at events. That's cool. But what I like to engage in personally are people who are sharing content of relevance to me, et cetera. So if I just pop down, so here's somebody, right? Unadi is sharing something about breaking barriers in government state agencies. I'm in the federal market, but I love the whole barrier. I might look at this and begin to engage. And then here is Hunter. She's engaged as well. She's another connection of mine. She's in our community. It drives me in there and I say, hey, let me engage. And so engagement in here, I could sit there and read this. So she's got a lot. She's talking about her company, but she's talking about why is this crucial? Today's citizens are user-centric. So I can see right away, these guys are talking about, adding user-centric design into what they're doing. Engagement is as simple as giving a thumbs up. Now that I've given a like to this post, LinkedIn has just told Unadi that I just gave an engagement on her stuff. And so she's in this company called VTech Solutions. I actually am aware of them, right? But I'm engaging with her. And imagine now if I came back and over a series of weeks and she does different posts, I'm engaging, she's beginning to know who I am. She's beginning to like me because she appreciates the fact that I'm one of 4 people who just engaged, right? And then I can engage in comments, but I'll come back to that in a second. So let me come over here to a second way. The first way was feed. You can look at your feed, which is like Facebook, right? Your homepage, you just scroll through. The second way is notifications. Notifications are people who are posting related to what I posted, or they're doing their own. And so what I want to do, a lot of this is, people responding to my post, but I'm just looking down and I'm looking for some of these posts that are, let me see. So I happen to do a big post today, so I got to bypass it. Okay, no, this is what you get when you got. Okay, so here's Dave Waltz. Dave Waltz is a federal buyer. He's in the Navy and he sells it. So here he's talking about contract opportunities, and he posted 3 of them. And so I'm just going to click on one, and I might have. So this one here, right? So now I can engage it at another level. Obviously, I'll give it a thumbs up just to say, hey, thanks for sharing this out, Dave. And then I'm just going to say FYI to the. So this is the second way of engaging is comments, right? FYI to the. It's hard to type when you're under pressure, right? To the GovCon Chamber of Commerce members and other small business government contractors, right? So I'm trying to ping them. And then I'll just throw in thanks at David. See how I'm tagging it with the at symbol and David, and I've got his name coming up. Thanks, David Waltz, for sharing this with industry. sometimes, I could say something like Sam currently has about 1,000 RFIs. This is much easier to see, right? So I'm just engaging. Now, this is a simple post for me because I'm just engaging on the fact that he shared something. Some of the ones I really love doing and that some people do is if somebody shares a strategic plan. So let's look at this last way. Just tracking my time. If I just type CIO for a second and see what I can get, I'm going to look for post, and I should have put in something like Army or Defense. No, this is perfect. So this is, well, no, that's somebody else. Well, actually, this would be good. I don't know who they are, right? But this is a session guidebook, right? It's coming from Robert Borka, and he is over here, just so we show it, right? He's at Department of Homeland Security in this program accountability and risk management. So he's a federal buyer. We're connected. I searched. I just looked for a post. But now he's sharing this. He's saying, we're pleased to offer whatever this thing is. I don't know what it is yet, but I would begin to read through it. So here he's talking about the sessions. This is pretty cool. He's telling us what's going to actually happen. Let me expand. So he's talking about some of this stuff that they're sharing. This is really important to me, right? I would look through and see, is there something I might be interested in? Cyber risk analysis in real life, right? If I looked at that and I appreciated it, then I could engage with, where'd it go? I could engage with Robert and leave a comment. And then I could also maybe tag some of my cybersecurity companies and say, hey, look at page 5 on Tuesday. There's cybersecurity risk and analytics. I think you'd be really interested in this. When I do something like that, my network is aware of it. Robert is appreciative that I'm engaging and pushing it out further. And the people I tag and say, hey, Gupri, you'd be really, this might be a fit for you. Take a look at it. It's in your space. That's engagement when you put that stuff out there. So you want to sit there and figure that out. Let me come back to the last one because I'm running out of time and I just want to make sure I cover it. There's 3 things. Remember, let me back up. You want to update your personal profile. You want to make sure you're doing LinkedIn engagement 15 minutes a day. What I showed you today was like 5 minutes of how to do it. I have a whole video just on LinkedIn engagement. It goes for 30 minutes. So go find that in my past training there. And then the last one is content posting, right? You want to share information that's related to your core competency. This is really important. If you're a cybersecurity expert, you should share things related to cyber. Don't share things that I share, right? I don't really share things from a cybersecurity perspective expert. If you look at what I share, which I'll show you in a second, it's demonstrating that I know how to do research into a federal agency and finding stuff. That's what I'm demonstrating because I want to help my target audience, which is you. So you want to demonstrate your subject matter expertise through what you're sharing. You want to do this. You want to do this daily, but right now what I'm saying is do it at least once per week. If you're an expert at something, if you do SharePoint, if you do Microsoft 365, cybersecurity, and zero trust, if you do elevators, you can do this every single week. And you just create a post, and I'll show you in a second. Initially, you want to do it yourself, but as you go along, you can delegate this to somebody on your team. You just want to make sure you have a good pattern. But where you want to do this, you want to do it on your personal profile and then repost it to your company page. Don't post new, fresh content to your company page. Company pages don't perform well reaching out to the network. They'll do fine if you post it on your own profile and then repost. And I'll show you that in a second. So let's go ahead and go back really quick to LinkedIn. And by the way, one of the things I wanted to show you right here, I said there was a couple of ways you can engage, right? You could like it, and I'll just like this because we talked about it. You can comment, which I was saying, and you can repost. So right here, this is the part I wanted to remind you. You can repost with your own thoughts, or you could repost plainly. What I highly recommend you do is repost it without putting your own thoughts because it keeps the thread going. When you repost it with your own thoughts, LinkedIn thinks this is a whole new connection. So when you post your own content, you want me to repost yours without any of my own thought, right? You want me to put my thoughts in the comment. That way it drives people back to your LinkedIn profile. It drives people back to, if I reposted this, it would drive them back to Robert's profile. Okay, so let's look at sharing content. And I'll show you some of the stuff I do and talk about it really quick. I have an entire training just on LinkedIn content posting, so you can watch that as well. It's 30 minutes that expand on what I'm telling you here. That's funny. That was me live. But if I come up here really quick, I'm going to show you the main thing I like to post. I like personally to post documents. So right now I'm on this phase of posting Army. I have these 4 different Army strategic documents. And so I'm posting them out there. The reason I do this is my target audience is twofold. It is small businesses, helping them understand how to get further into the government. And so these documents I share are demonstrating my expertise as an understanding of the agencies, but also it's giving them valuable content. Many, many times I share information, I'll show you in a second, that has, like right here, it has org charts, people's names, numbers, and emails. What I'm sharing is very valuable content. You want to do the same thing, right? Is share that content that your buyers would want or your audience would want. So if you do, again, let's go back to SharePoint, why you should use SharePoint instead of Drupal for your intranet website design or something, whatever it is, product comparisons, things like that. When you go watch the previous training I did, you'll be able to see that there's a lot of ways to share content, but you should be sharing content that allows people to see your expertise. Don't share content that allows them to see so much mine. It's okay to repost content, but your original content should be around your expertise. If you're a staffing company, right, and that's fine, and that's your expertise, then share tips on how to recruit, how to attract people. It doesn't matter if you're sharing tips that you think are intellectual property. These tips are not unique to any of us anymore. There's hardly anything that I know that is unique from somebody else. We all kind of know it because it's the same common practices. It's my delivery, it's my execution that is valuable. And it's the same for you. If you do staffing or if you do cyber, if you do painting, here's the top 10 things you should think about when getting ready to repaint your office or something. And as you do this, you're attracting federal buyers. You're demonstrating to teammates that you're an expert. So here you can just see the content I share in, but you can see people begin to, well, you can't see it here, but people engage a lot. Just to give you an idea, the content I post, I get, I'm averaging now 2 million views every 90 days. It is massive. Don't expect for you to be at that because it's taken me since basically 2007 to get to that stage. But when you post content, you will reach buyers. And I only connect nowadays with people who are in the GovCon space. I'm not opposed to other people, but I don't try to attract anybody who's outside the federal space. So here's what I want you to remember as you're going away from today's training, right? First thing, if you just do one thing, update your capability statement or upload your capability statement into LinkedIn. Go back and watch my training and I show you step-by-step how to do that. Engage in LinkedIn 15 minutes every morning. Just start the day off by saying hello to people, giving thumbs up where it makes sense. As you get used to doing commenting, do that. And the third thing is post one piece of content each week that shows us what your core competency is and demonstrates that you're a subject matter expert in that. Remember, we do training every single day. If today is Thursday, then tomorrow I'm doing cold call training. So if you're live, come back for that. If you're getting value from our training, certainly throw a thank you into the chat. Consider becoming a sustaining member when you get a chance. We'd love to have you support what we're doing. For everybody, remember, government contracting, it's not a secret. It's just a process. I'll see you in the next training.